I wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey, and this is the last match of round 4 of the 2025 Carcassonne Champions League, where Bogdan Korkan with the screen name Game Over will be fighting Ilya Slonimsky with the screen name Isloun for the first place in Group B. The tournament situation in Group B is really not complicated at all. 3 players in clear leads. Tito, RC, and Ilya have almost guaranteed themselves the qualification. No, that's not true. They have guaranteed themselves the qualification spot as the first 3 squares, as the first 3 players will be qualifying. And Bogdan is the only one who has not guaranteed himself the spot, so they will be looking forward to win against Ilya today, bringing them to 3 victories in 4 matches. And also with a better tiebreaker, they will be in first place in all likelihood. But if they lose, Ilya will remain with 4 wins and undisputed first, and Bogdan will still need to fight in round 5 for his playoff spot. And there will be, actually all 3 remaining players will be gunning for him. So certainly great motivation for the Romanian player. But he's playing against the group leader. Now he has him outrated. As you can see, Bogdan is rated 639, Isloun just over 500. But Ilya has more competitive Carcassonne experience than it might seem at first sight. He participated in the World's Championship earlier this year as somebody who won the international qualifier for countries which do not have a national championship. But Bogdan also participated in the World Championship and got 3rd place. So I would favor the Romanian player here by around 60%. But then Isloun's the one who's ahead of everybody else in Group B. The game has started. Bogdan with red meeples and already a few points on the scoreboard. Isloun with black meeples and slightly fewer points on the scoreboard. Both players have exchanged completed cities. And the Israeli here with a sneaky move. Not really adding points to anybody's road, but threatening a complete block of red city. If a Dorito were to be added to the square, this square would have been completely blocked. So this is why red adds a city cap to his city and also now threatens an 8-point city in return. There's also a big road here waiting to happen. I wonder if black goes here and meeples that road and tries to win himself a bigger road. He does not. Instead, he chooses to start a new 2-point road at the top and break Bogdan's city a little bit, drastically reducing the number of tiles that fit into this square. I wonder if red now is going to go over here, meepling this road and then looking with a couple of curves to create a long road with a 2-to-1 meeple majority. Somebody should be eventually placing a meeple here. This road is much more potent than it initially looks. Hi Glavier, hi Wise Maze. It is actually true. To be honest, I am a little bit tired. And there is going to be just one more week like this. So round 5 will be quite eventful. This is happening next week. And after that, we're getting rid of half participants. So we're only going to have 8 matches to follow. And that's something that's much more manageable. But yeah, also do let me know if you prefer quantity or quality. Like if you prefer that every match is covered as far as possible, sometimes with some tired commentary, or if you prefer a fresher and more qualitative commentary, but with fewer matches covered. But you know what? Whilst we're here, and the stream is going on anyway, I'm going to do my best to still provide the best insights that I can possibly have. And my insights is continuing road, very good move. 1 point, increases road safety. Wonderful decision here by the Israeli. In the meantime, black is getting blocked on the square a little bit. And red did finally meeple the road, something that black could have done before. And red is now looking to build a big city. Also, very interesting move from isloun here. I actually really love it. So it takes 2 points. It prolongs the city of game over, but it eliminates the threat of completing it with just 1 tile. Now red is going to need 2 tiles in order to complete it, and black will have more time to invade or block it. But black also has another idea. His city is in the process of being broken by red. So he figures, why not draw something like a cow tile, go over here, and connect to the city. Yeah, so black is actually playing really well. Definitely better than a 500 rating would suggest. isloun with a city cap, looking to either start a new city over here, which would be, I guess, the top scoring move, right? Because it gets you an open city cap and it also indirectly prolongs your road like this. Or he could also do what he just did, which is also a viable move. Now it, of course, says goodbye to the idea of eventually unifying these cities, but it is annoying enough. It does threaten the completion of this here city for 8 points. And it makes it much harder for Bogdan to develop his monastery. Well, not his monastery, but his city. Because let's say if red places a tile over here, then suddenly this square is super vulnerable, so then he, you know, gets blocked and something. But then if red gets a tile over here, then this square is kind of vulnerable as well. So it could take quite a while for red to get this monastery meeple back, and most of the time, maybe around like 55 to 60% of the time, red actually loses one of his 2 meeples. And isloun is trying to make that happen by meepling a new city over here whilst also exposing these 2 vulnerable squares, but this gives a chance for Bogdan to defend by going over here. A very smart move, leaving 2 tiles that fit into this square and a boatload of tiles that fit into this one. Both players equal on the scoreboard. Red is yet to connect his attacking meeple into the shared road, but there's still 4 tiles remaining in the deck for him to do so. Red also, it needs to be pointed out that red could not continue his city with the Dorito tile. Instead, he chose to attack the more threatening black city at the bottom. Black now with a monastery looking to either go here for 5 points to support his road, or even there, equalizing Bogdan's monastery and creating a threat of blocking the city meeple. Of course, if he succeeds, he will be blocking his own monastery as well, but the monastery of red is going down in the process, so this cancels out. And then red will be at a meeple disadvantage, which is why very smart move from Bogdan. He's trying to indirectly protect the city, restricting the number of blocking tiles that fit into the square to just 1. The one and only tile in the deck that can be drawn by the Israeli is the one and only starting tile, given that all 3 are, well, not all 3, but 3 out of 4 already on the board. Black is trying to complete his city on the left, but it is quite vulnerable, and I wonder if red decides to go over here and try restricting it. I don't think it is the best move. I think the best move is actually going at the bottom, prolonging his road and increasing the road safety as well, but I profoundly disagree with this move. It's a massive mistake. Why would you do that, Bogdan? Maybe he's also tired, because yesterday he was playing in the Mind Sports Olympiad Catan and he reached all the way to the finals. You can see the streaming archive then. So it was also a long day for him. But isloun, what are these moves? What are these moves? I don't get this. Like, there's this 12-point road, Both players ignore them. First of all, Bogdan just doesn't care about the safety of the road. Instead, he goes for a city block, which actually is a city defense, because there are still 4 tiles that fit into this square. Moreover, if isloun does draw one of these 4 tiles, he's going to get himself a 5-point road as well over here. But then, okay, with the wonderful, wonderful opportunity to re-attack the road, Black completely ignores it. Like, Black could have gone over here and equalized the 12 points here. Instead, he felt that for some reason this road was somehow dangerous, so he got himself a meeple back. So both players have clearly had a tiring week. A very, very strong start, but quite a bizarre sequence of moves recently. Isloun with a monastery. He will take advantage of his move because his previous move gave him a meeple back, and that meeple allows him to start a new monastery. The one issue I'd take is that he actually accidentally protected the road of Bogdan. It's now not easy at all for isloun to reinvade that road, but maybe this wasn't his plan all along. Maybe he's just happy to concede these 12 points. And we can see his priorities are pretty clear, as Bogdan was threatening to finish a city, was just 1 Dorito tile away. Black drew a tile not for blocking, but for invasion. And now this meeple is equal this meeple equals this meeple, and everything else over here in this part of the board is basically irrelevant. Black with a nice defense. Bogdan was, of course, trying to block. Now Black made sure that there's still 3 tiles that fit into this square to not only complete an 8-point city, but also to meeple a couple of roads. Bogdan with a lovely move. Finally, he cares about the safety of his road. Pre-finishing it, obstructing the monastery of Black a little bit, and still having 2 tiles in the deck that go to this square. And the road is going to be 13 points long. And the problem for Black here is that this road, the 13 points from the road is only half of the problem. It also comes with a ginormous, beautiful farmer. This is as beautiful a farm as you're going to get. Now it only scores 6 points, but now it scores 9 points as isloun gets a splitter to separate himself from the little city of Bogdan. And now he gets himself a farmer and now tries fighting for the field. Bogdan. Okay, I was going to say, like, please don't farm, please don't farm, please don't farm. But Bogdan does farm, and I think it is a mistake. This guy gets blocked here at a higher than average frequency. So the issue that I have with this move, even though it sometimes might work, is the fact that if red finishes his city, he creates a platform for blocking his farmer. If he connects his farmer, he creates a platform for attacking his city. So this is a lose-lose situation. There's no way how these 2 meeples are making it out alive without significant risk. Isloun starting a new city, pre-finishing his monastery. Bogdan with a chance to invade, which he now probably should use. He will be exposing this platform, but since Black has only 1 meeple, maybe it's not such a big deal. Black probably will go over here and invade anyway, or at the very least leave the Dorito sort of dangling there. Curious to see whether he chooses to invest in meeple, chooses the cautious approach. Bogdan now with a fantastic tile, and he needs to find his strongest move. I don't think you ever go here completing your city. Yes! This is the move. This is the move. I might have even meepled that road straight up. Actually, I think it was a bit stronger. So he denies his isloun a meeple back. And then he pre-builds a 5-point road, which only he can benefit from, because only red has the meeple. He's now trying to permanently block this guy as well. and isloun does not draw a defense tile. So I wonder if we just YOLO it and go over here, simply to try and get a meeple back as soon as possible. There are still 2 tiles that fit into this square, but I don't think 1 meeple is going to be quite enough for us as black. We need more, because Bogdan has this spectacular farmer. Our monastery, even though initially promising, is now having a hard time getting developed, as there are only 2 tiles remaining that fit into this square, mainly the last remaining road monastery and the vanilla city cap. The vanilla city cap we will end up needing elsewhere anyway. Bogdan with a scoring tile cannot block easily. Well, actually he can. No, he can't. Yeah, this move is okay, but it's only a partial block, because there's also 1 tile that fits into this square. But it's still worth doing just for the delay of black getting a meeple back. Black does get a meeple back, but he also gives a meeple back to red by completing a shared city. Red is scoring, equalizing on the scoreboard, opening a platform for a permanent block. Not something that isloun can deal with, but what he can do is go over here and give both sides a meeple back while scoring a couple of points by equalizing his 3-point city with a 5-point city of Bogdan. This is exactly what happens. Both sides have some firepower is the word, to fight for the field. The meeple of isloun is blocked, but with 2 meeples remaining, he can probably survive. Just needs to score a little bit, maybe over here. And then we can start about thinking invading the farm. Actually, there is now really good invasion spot. As black, we need to drop a farmer somewhere here and invade through this triple city tile, through this triple road tile, right? So if we get the umbrella tile over here, we finish ourselves an 8-point city and we invade with a farmer. But it's a great tile, of course, for isloun. He wishes that he would have drawn that a little bit later, so that he would have dropped the farmer first and then connected for a maximum efficiency. But I guess he has to go for the city. The only thing he's thinking about whether it's worth to meeple the road, and I think it is. If we're lucky enough to get the last field crossroads, then we get to go over here, score 6 points for the road, and we get to drop a farmer. And then we can draw the last curve, go over here, score more points, and invade with that farmer into the main field like this. So all the way through here. Let me try and also draw these road tiles so that you can visualize this pattern. So crossroads here and a curve here. Unlikely, but possible. And there's no doubt that this tile is going over here. It's just not obvious whether it's going to come with a road meeple, a field meeple. You know what? Maybe field meeple is actually best. It's better than the road meeple, because the field meeple is already 3 points. It's going to get 6 when Bogdan finishes his city. And there are multiple routes into the main field. So first of all, there's of course this route that I described. But second, there's also this route through a 6-point road like that. I think it's a miss from the Israeli. Bogdan just keeps cleaning off city caps. I guess we can do the same as black, who is, mind you, 10 points ahead on the scoreboard and has a 5-point monastery. So maybe he does not necessarily have to fight for the field, but Bogdan with the 6-point road. And you see now, if only isloun had a farmer over here, this road would have been a much more dangerous thing for Bogdan to pull off, because then Bogdan would be risking losing his farm if isloun were to draw a curve here. But without a black farmer, it's not really that dangerous at all. Players exchange quick points. Black still ahead, 8 on the scoreboard. Game over. With a city tile. Looking to drop a farmer, which makes sense. If he's going to get a straight line, then this farmer will get some expansion. Isloun probably looking to meeple this ruin for 6 points, or maybe going over here and disrupting Bogdan's city. Actually, let's think about it. How much is the main field worth? It has 4 completed cities on it over here, so it's 12 points. These farmers are tied. This farmer is worth 3 points, which equalizes Bogdan's 3-point city. We have 2 equal 3-point cities. So overall, a 5-point advantage for Bogdan before this move, due to the 2-point lead on the scoreboard of the Israeli plus the 5-point monastery. So that's 7. So this compensates for the field minus 5 points. Now after the 6-point ruin, the score is +1 for black, but Bogdan has the extra meeple and a bunch of threats. This city could get completed, this field could expand. Actually, this field could expand as well with a curve. But then black has also threats. If black gets a city cap, then they get an 8-pointer here. A potential 6-point field for the future. There's also a potential 6-point field for either side to benefit. Bogdan continues his city. Had only Isloun dropped his farmer here, he would have already completed the invasion. Now he's gonna have to settle for less, namely these 4 points over here. Still a lovely tile. It will put him up +4. But Bogdan still with the extra meeple, and look how timely this scoring move was. It wasn't just a scoring move, it was also a block. Red now cannot go over here and finish his city. If only there were extenders remaining, Red could have gone over here and dropped a farmer or something, preparing to finish the city with one of the extenders, but all 3 of them are already on the board. And so are all 3 vertical splitters. So this ain't gonna work. And there are no vanilla city caps either. So I don't think that this city is getting completed ever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 dagger remaining, but I believe it is the wrong kind. And I am in fact correct. So the only player who gets to finish their city is in fact the Israeli. And Bogdan going for it, going for that dagger, really hoping to draw it and get himself another 6-point field. But playing this move is him essentially accepting, I was going to say 50-50, but this is not true. There are 2 city caps that fit here. One of them is a splitter, which also goes over here for a whopping 9 points. So Ilya's chances are not great. Even though he's currently ahead 3 points with equal meeples, Bogdan has a lot of threats, and he also has scoring potential. A 5-point move available for the Romanian. Expanding his farm and scoring 2 points. Or expanding this farm and scoring points here. But it's going to get fairly close. So let's say red goes over here. Black gets 1 city cap. Drops a farmer, that's 8 points. Bogdan gets the other city cap, drops a farmer, that's 9 points. Then after this, red will be ahead 2 points or something. So I think the only way for Isloun to win is to get both city caps. He gets one of them. Will he get the other one? There's a 33% chance of that happening. A farmer will be dropped here for 3 points. Does Bogdan get a city cap? That is the question. He does not, but he gets a scoring tile, which will give him 3 points here, but now he needs to count really, really carefully. So the one tile in the deck remaining is the dagger, but what's the other tile? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No straight lines, no curves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ah, no. There are no crossroads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think it's a big tile, which is just exceptionally clunky. So Bogdan goes for his high scoring move, which is also his best play, scores the 3 points. Now, who's going to get this city cap and who's going to get... So the city cap is gotten by isloun, but now he needs to realize. No, oh, come on, it's in such an easy end game. This is not the move. So he goes for 7 points and he allows Bogdan to meeple a 6-point field. That is quite a big mistake. Even I can solve that. That was so easy. Yeah, with just no time spent at all. So of course he just went for his highest scoring move, we just meepling the city cap. What he should have done instead, with his last meeple, he should have sacrificed 1 point, going here for just 6 points, simply to not allow Bogdan to use that square. Then after that, the best move that Bogdan could possibly hope for was a 4-point move over here, with a 1-point city move and a 3-point farmer. Or over here, with a 1-point city move and a 3-point farmer. So this would have netted isloun, let's see, 2 extra points compared to what happened in the game? Or 1 extra point compared to what happened in the game. But it ended up not mattering. So Bogdan really needed those city caps. He went for that, what it was at that time, a 60% winning chance, I believe, and he did not get his tile. Very close game. Also quite interesting how it unfolded. Definitely some endgame imprecisions toward the end, but they did not matter, as Black successfully got both city caps. But also some astute play from Black to get there. First of all, Black realized that he could win without fighting for the field. That's also not an easy realization. Managed to get some quick points. Managed to cover up and get his city back. And then just hold on by a couple of points. With optimal play, he would have won by 5 instead of winning by 4. But this ended up not mattering. Alrighty, so the Israelis on a roll. Oh, isn't that interesting? Yeah, Board Game Arena has not been stable in the last couple of hours. I've had some casual games been disrupted. Fortunately, this game appears to carry on as normal, and it is great news for Team Black here. Starting player advantage, 8 points on the scoreboard. A decent road. Bogdan just made a move, which just shocks me. So it looks like a normal move, but for an expert player, it's like an unbelievable opening mistake. So I really assume that he must be just tired after yesterday's Catan. What you're supposed to do here is red. You're supposed to build up your monastery like this, and then build the city like this around your opponent's road, and only then fill the square in which the opponent's road is sticking in. And now red is paying full consequences for this, so he inadvertently spent a tile on helping Black with his road, whilst his city was not secured. And this allows black to mess up his monastery and also invade the city. So a very unfortunate mistake here from the Romanian, just makes his game much harder. But it leads to some fireworks as he decides to reinvade this city and hope to get a couple of Doritos and big tiles for an 18-point city and 2 meeples back. Most of the time it shouldn't be working, because whenever you have this invasion pattern that you're invading like through your opponent's meeples and then back over here, typically your opponent has enough time to use this platform at the bottom to pressure 2 of these squares at the same time. So that's why he actually finds it. I would have meepled this monastery. I think it was more precise here from black. And then after that start either blocking or invading both of these squares. Blocking does not look like it's going to be possible. But going over here and just equalizing this meeple seems to be sufficient. Going over here is also possible, but slightly inferior for a variety of reasons, and black recognizes that. Red, with a road tile and no really good moves. I wonder if going here could be of interest, trying to create a huge road going over here. Instead he plays small ball, equalizes his loon's road at the top and at the bottom. Black starts a new city. And the sad thing for red is that red can't even go over here and obstruct it, because red does not want to expose this square to danger, as he's going to need the square to complete his monastery. Or I'm wrong. Red says, you know what, I'm behind a little bit too much. I have to play a bit more risky than normally. I'm just going to expose that square. This does not work, as black immediately gets a tile to get his city meeple back. So red really needs to cook something up to avoid disaster. Maybe going over here, starting a new city, which is exactly what the doctor ordered. Also protecting, at least indirectly protecting, the vulnerable square that he just created. But now that I think about this, this tile is really, really bad for red, because after it's drawn, it's no longer in the deck, which means that if black goes here with something like a starting tile or an umbrella tile, then this square will be permanently blocked. So maybe a decent move for Bogdan here would be just to go like this. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Dangerous, 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 dangerous. I'm so worried. I don't like this move as Bogdan. The reason I really, really like this move over here is that it was a way to develop his city on the right, to still sort of kind of protect that square, and then not to have too many invasion platforms to the city anyway, and still preserve a meeple, which is a key part. But had red listened to me, red would have already lost his road. So apparently this connection did have some urgency. But then again, red didn't have to help black's road in the first place. And now I believe the game is over for game over. One of the 2 remaining blocking tiles in the deck was drawn by black. This square is now completely killed off. This square next to Bogdan's city is extremely vulnerable. And it will be very, very hard for red to come back in this. But there is a possibility, and I wonder if red sees it. I mean, red sees it for sure, but I wonder if black sees it. If red gets a splitter tile and places it over here, then he gets to get this meeple back without giving black a meeple back, thus restoring the parity in the meeple count. In the meantime, Bogdan gets his meeple back from the left. Isloun tries to continue his city. Game over now with a scoring tile. Takes 4 points. He's now closer on the scoreboard. Still a difficult position, but a bit less so than a couple of minutes before. But Black with a great tile looking to cover up his city and hope to finish a 12-pointer soon enough. Not much that Red can do about this. He can go over here, of course, and create an attacking platform, but can you really afford to meeple this monastery? Maybe? Yeah, maybe you have to do this, actually. Yes, go for it. Come on. Do it. Yes, exactly. That's a great move. The reason why I like it, even though the last meeple of Bogdan, well, first of all, he needs to score, and second, he really needs some contingency plans for Black completing his city, which Black does. Now, 12 points on the scoreboard is not great for Red, but the monastery is already 7 points. Red is going to add an 8th one and put himself quite close to monastery completion. So it was actually super important to meeple this monastery to simply stay in scoring range. Red is a bit apprehensive about placing the monastery over here because maybe Black could get a Dorito and block the square, but you still have to do it. Black does not get Dorito, but gets a scoring tile. And will we have a road tile for Bogdan? No, we will not, but a chance to develop our city on the right. I know some players would have chickened out and gotten a meeple bag, but no. This tile is way too valuable to do stuff like this. This city is actually an actual threat, and we now have a real chance of completing it. Or maybe, is it time to go over here and try and draw a splitter? This is an awkward tile to place. If we place it over here, we do cover up our city, but then we're forced to get a very rare tile to finish our city. Given the fact that there's still 4 Doritos remaining and 2 splitters, I kind of want to wait for that Dorito plus Dorito pattern, but maybe we don't get to choose that. Yeah, this idea of separation is maybe something that we have to go for. Maybe not now, but maybe later. But given the fact that this is the last dagger, maybe we actually have to bite the bullet and just do it now. The reason for it is this. If we don't do it now, and if we draw the splitter later, and we go over here, then our opponent can get a straight line and permanently block this square. So our splitter will not really accomplish much. So we might as well do it now, hope that our opponent does not have a blocking tile, as unlikely as it is, but he decides to delay it a little bit and simply get a meeple back for both sides. In the meantime, the Israeli has dropped a 15-point farmer, which is something that is exceptionally difficult to deal with if you're the Romanian. Hi, Afonso. Hi, Nepamai. Isloun with a curve, thinking whether to start bothering Red City or maybe sneakily invading the shared road, making it harder for Red to finish monastery and get a meeple back. Instead, he goes for a second farm, which actually makes a lot of sense. It will be quite difficult for Red to win this game without the farm, but not impossible. Red just needs to score, and this is exactly what he does. Thinking whether to meeple this road, thinks better of it. Black with 4 points at the top. Red with a tile which he wanted to have placed over here, but that city cap has been eliminated, and a lovely move here from Bogdan. Now he's separating the splitter in a safer way. And look at this, even if his loon gets a blocking tile, which he doesn't, let's say if his loon gets a straight line and goes over here, well then at the very least you have yourself a city which can grow into a ruin, and so you get those couple of extra points. Instead he does block. Well, actually it's not necessarily blocking, it's just blocking the splitter opportunity, and it is saving the connection opportunity with one of the many cows. Still an absolutely worthy attempt. Now I wonder if as red, I'm really tired of waiting, like we need to get this game going. Why don't we just go over here? I know that this exposes a vulnerable square in our city. I know that they could block or invade. But given the fact that there are not many city caps, I'm not too concerned about invasion, and I just want to go for it, and that's a great tile for us. Because the best thing that isloun can do is simply try blocking. And regardless of how they turn this tile, we're going to still have chances to draw whichever tile fits here. So as black, given my scoreboard lead, I probably don't want to get even bothered. I don't think it's the best move. I think the best move is just scoring 3 points here. Bogdan gets himself the tile that he needs, but I don't think we go here. Dangerous! Dangerous! I think we had to be patient and wait for the last Dorito, but maybe not. Because you know what? With this tile over here, even though it exposes multiple blocking and attacking platforms, if we somehow survive, then this city scores much more. It is dangerous. It is dangerous, and just one tile before it got completed, it gets blocked, at least restricted for now. It's not fully blocked. There's still one starting tile remaining in the deck, and even if his loon gonna go over here, which he's gonna, Bogdan has such a sequence available. Okay, so imagine if black goes over here. Then Bogdan can get a starting tile, finish the city, meeple the road, then get one of the 2 remaining road monasteries, get his road meeple back, get 9 points for the monastery. And this would more than compensate for the scoreboard difference, which is why isloun chooses to turn this tile in a different way. And there are actually some good reasons for this. One of the reasons is that a dagger is no longer available. But you know what is available? There's still one of these guys. Bogdan is building his side of the city. Isloun presumably going to go and block his monastery. Something that's long overdue, but maybe he doesn't care about it. Maybe he just wants to start the city over here. Note that the sequence that I was talking about, like with the city tile over here and the road monastery, is absolutely possible. The monastery of red was blocked, but I don't think red cares a lot. In fact, red now has 2 high point threats. He can get himself, of course, the city cap tile, the umbrella tile, to get himself a bazillion points, and by bazillion I mean 28. 24 for the city plus 4 for the road, and a meeple back. And if Bogdan gets the starting tile, he gets to go over here, finish his monastery, and meeple a 6-point field, whilst also threatening 1 more 6-point city. So all is absolutely not over. And boy, do I want to see that tile. Okay, time is now. Time is now. As red, maybe the sequencing is not great. But we gotta go over here. We gotta meeple that 8-point monastery. Yes, we will not be scoring for the 4-point road, but who cares? And then we want to get that tile as soon as possible. And he does it, and he goes for the jackpot. And look how timely this was. Isloun, he was actually setting up a sneaky block. What Black wanted to do, he wanted to go over here and score 5 points for this road. And this would direct the city square into here, and there are no vanilla caps remaining anymore. Bogdan connecting the two farmers of his opponent, still gunning for that city cap. Isloun can actually now try and go over here and attack Bogdan's ruin. I believe this is the strongest move, but I also kind of hope that he doesn't see it. I guess I was supposed to be an impartial commentator, but I have made my sympathies abundantly clear. Okay, game over. Now has a chance to protect his monastery. A cow tile has been drawn, which undoubtedly is going to go over here to pick off of some Bogdan's ruins points. Curve for Bogdan goes over here in order to protect the ruin from being invaded, something that Black could have taken care of if only Black had gone over here. He would have drawn this tile, connected over here, and would have had himself a 10-point ruin, which is a lovely thing to have towards the end of the game. With 7 tiles in the deck and 2 meeples remaining, I presume that Black wants to have some sort of farmer insurance. Maybe going over here would be a good move. Instead, he simply discards the tile. Bogdan gets a crossroads. That's unfortunate because he needs to forego value. No way to score 2 points. Still waiting for that key tile. Isloun gets the key tile. Well, that's anticlimactic. I mean, like, Bogdan would have probably still lost with this tile regardless, but it's like, nah. What an anticlimactic finish. Still, Red, of course, tried everything he possibly could to come back. Well, he does get the starting tile and 2 meeples back. Too sad for him that he only gets to use one of them, because this tile came just a tad too late. Isloun, of course, going to have the first crack of the 6-point farmer. A splitter for Bogdan for 4-point city on the right is about the best that he can do. And it is going to be all she wrote. The road monastery for Isloun for even more points. Let's see what the score is. Of course, Black is going to win, but I'm really curious if Red were to draw this tile early enough, were there some actual chances? Because Red's getting a lot of monastery points, a lot of ruin points. The score difference is actually not as great as one must have previously imagined. Yeah, not great at all. Look at it. Actually, Bogdan had more points before the farmers were counted. Only 17 points advantage. Okay, 20 points advantage, which means that... So let's see. If Red were to complete this city, he would be turning an 11-point city into a 24-point city plus extra monastery points. So that's a plus 14 move. And 2 meeples. Yeah, you bet that 14 points and 2 meeples are actually enough to win you the game. So, interestingly how Red stayed alive in it for a long time. Unfortunate, of course, to lose that coin flip, but Black took care of his advantage very, very well, dropped some key farmers, exploited the meeple advantage to a great extent. And all of that because one really unusual and uncharacteristic opening mistake of Bogdan by accidentally prolonging Black's road. So it did many things. So this move over here, earlier on, it made sure that what? Losing my train of thought here. Now, I actually want to finish this. Okay, first of all, you know what? Never mind. Actually, I just want to go for the... I want to just look at the game review. I just want to show you the few moves so that I can show you the far-reaching consequences of that road move. So let's look at this from Red's perspective. Okay, game starting, whatever. The usual moves. Bogdan starting a new city, that all makes sense. Isloun gets himself a city, Bogdan going over here. Yeah, this move over here. Now, the normal move in this situation is just do this. So you add a city point, you add a monastery point, and then you're threatening to either finish your city over here on the left like this, through a regular Dorito plus a road Dorito, or there are some even better scenarios sometimes how you can go over here with a big tile, maybe block the square, and then develop a like 10-point ruin against a 3-point road to win a mini battle. Instead, Red, who normally absolutely knows this sort of stuff, and I presume that they're just tired, like there has to be a psychological reason for that, does this, which is something that, well, I've seen players do before, but look at this. So it basically, it's a 0-point move because he adds himself 1 city point and 1 road to his opponent, as opposed to a 2-point move, which was the alternative. But it also gives this road free reign. So for example, what isloun can do now, what he should do, is actually go over here and create an attacking platform against the city, and that already gives black an advantage. Well, no, black's move also made sense. But let's look at the further consequences. This now forces the fact that red now freed up black's road. This now sort of forces red to use the meeple to equalize that road. And remember how long red spent time without meeples, and these meeples were on that shared road. Then the second consequence is isloun goes over here on a platform which would not have existed had red played the standard move. Now there's really no good outcome here, because either red is forced to do what he did, which it makes some sense, it just doesn't work often enough, but it's worth trying when you're a bit behind on the scoreboard. Or, you know, nothing happens here, and then you're just forced to place a Dorito here yourself just to get your monastery meeple back. And then you have to forget about the city for red as well. So 2 far-reaching negative consequences, and also if you remember, then Bogdan ended up losing one of his meeples here. And then a long-term meeple advantage. So it looks like a very unlucky game for red, and I guess he is unlucky in the sense that maybe this 8-point start kind of made him think that he needs to risk a little bit harder than he normally would. And he did lose the coin flip for ultimately that tile over here, but it's all right there in the opening. Just 1 move, and so much suffering for the player with the red meeples. Wise Maze is saying, please take a look, move 46. Sure can do. Let's just go a little bit further, because we're close to this. But I just wanted to really talk about that move, because that move is just a game right there. It's 41, 42, 43. Okay, 46. Ah, okay, interesting. So, Wise Maze is suggesting going over here like this. And the idea is that it is now actually impossible to block this square, because there's not a single tile in the deck that fits here for isloun to block this. However, I still think that Bogdan's move in the game is superior for a couple of reasons. So first of all, with this idea, you're actually not getting both of your meeples back very often, because, well, you need to first fill one of these squares. Let's say if you get a triple city, then suddenly you only have a 75% chance of getting a tile here. Still okay, we can live with that. But then if we get a tile here, first we get one of the... Yeah, so let's, for example, if we get one of the horses, if we put it over here, then still only 75% chance of getting a tile back with one of the, how do you call them, umbrellas. Another reason why I don't like this move is that it just focuses too much on people's safety. So by going over here and leaving only 2 tiles in the deck that block the square fully, I think we gain enough from red's perspective, because actually it was really unlucky for red that black drew the starting tile here, because he had only 2 blocking tiles, whereas we had like 7 tiles to connect. So it was actually extremely, extremely unlucky. And the reason why I also like this move is that it takes the overall win percentage in mind a little bit better. Because this move just says I don't want to get blocked. But it exposes a connection platform against this city, which is actually not something that we're going to give up when we have so many city points. Then the city also could get blocked in a variety of other ways, like this maybe. And the reason I like this move so much better, that in the unlikely event that red goes over here, that black goes over here and blocks this square, it's still not the end of the world. Like, it's still just 1 blocked meeple for a decent number of points. We can maybe still go here, block the square, develop this ruin. And what I like about this move is that it creates a much more real threat of completing a city. Like going over here, over here, over here, for example. There's only 1 invasion platform, and it's really restricted. And as we saw in the game, red was actually close to completing the city. So the point is, in this configuration, either red gets his meeple back, which sort of helps his game come along, or maybe red gets blocked, which happens rarely to begin with in the first place, and then maybe red completes his city. So this will be my take on it, but my main take is just don't put yourself in this position in the first place. And like, whenever your opponent is plugging a road into your city, don't put anything there unless you're completing the city. Yes. Actually, that's something that I need. I don't know. I need to make like a 2-minute video about this, or maybe just somebody clip that, because it just needs to be out there. It's such a useful heuristic to play by, and many expert players don't know this. But the thing is, like, Bogdan knows this. It just was a one-time glitch. Alrighty, so we finished with a bit of a technical analysis session, but let's not stop there. First of all, let's just update the score to reflect that isloun has won. And then let's look at the tournament situation. So, well, the good thing for the outcome of this match is that Ilya made it very interesting to watch in week 5. He now, of course, is in sole lead, quite deservedly so, by beating everybody. So whoever's going to face him in round 5 is going to have some difficulties, despite the fact that probably Ilya doesn't have a lot of motivation, given the fact that he has all but secured himself the first place in the group. Bogdan, on the other hand, still in 3rd place, with 2 matches won, 2 matches lost. But his tiebreaker now isn't great. So in order to qualify to the next round, he has to win the next match. It's as simple as this. Let's actually have a look at who he's going to play. Okay, so the last round is as follows. This is a high-level matchup between Vivian Charlot and Xiang Yuqin. Both of them on 1 victories. So they will both be hoping to win against each other. They will be also hoping that Lambay wins again against Game Over. And that they get the favorable tiebreaker, something like this. I actually wonder if even Lambay has a chance to qualify. This could be pretty interesting. So let's say if Lambay wins up against Bogdan 2-0. He's going to be at 2 matches won, 4 games won, 7 games lost. Then Game Over is now at 5-5, right? Okay, so then Game Over is going to be at 5-7. Ah, yeah, there's no chance for Lambay to qualify at all, even if he wins Bogdan 2-0. So we will be saying to the Italian goodbye. But these guys, still possible. If they win 2-0, let's say if they win 2-0 against each other, so if either Viv wins against QAZ or QAZ wins against Viv, whoever is the victor of this duel, if they win 2-0 and Bogdan loses 2-0, then they are going to qualify. So basically, Viv and QAZ will be rooting hard for Lambay. And Bogdan doesn't have to root for anybody, has to just pull himself together, take a good rest after yesterday's Catan marathon and today's CCL match, then maybe schedule the final round 5 match for a few days later, and then just try and win against Lambay so that the result of Viv and QAZ is irrelevant. So that's the plan. Tito Arce is likely going to stay in 2nd place, so their match doesn't really matter that much. So that's the tournament situation. Yeah, exactly. Bogdan might even be able to afford a loss, but from the Romanians' perspective, you really hate to be relying on other people. You really want to take care of business yourself, especially after such a great start to the tournament. Like, he won against Viv, he won against Self-Evident, he won against the 2 whom I would perceive the strongest players, but then the strongest players are at the bottom of the table, so go figure. Anyway, this concludes a packed week of Carcassonne content. The next week is probably going to be a little bit lighter, but there's also one special event next week on Sunday. That is the Mindsport Olympiad Grand Prix in Azul, and we haven't had ourselves Azul content in a while, so I will be either streaming the playoffs or playing the playoffs, in which case I'm going to make a video recap. So there is going to be some sort of Azul content coming up, and of course the round 5 of Carcassonne Champions League throughout the week. We don't have any matches scheduled right now. Well, there's Lord Trooper of Me Got No Skill for... when is February 5th? I guess that's Wednesday. This actually is something that I could cover, but the streams will be... the streaming schedule will be known closer to the date. So now this is it. Make sure to meeple the like button if you liked anything about this video. In case you're here for the first time, subscribe for more competitive Carcassonne content like this. Maybe not more like this week, but maybe like half of that next week. But there's a lot coming up. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you soon.